As a drug-free world record squatter for Team USA, I have most certainly had my fair share of heavy squats. In fact, most recently, I just hit a 765-pound new American record, unofficial world record, back in April. All right, so just a few short months ago. So, like I said, I've had my fair share of heavy squats, and I can tell you with confidence, mindset is everything. In this video, I'm going to give you several major mindset pieces that will make a massive difference when it comes to heavy squats. As we go through these points, please keep in mind that none of this is in any particular order. However, each one is very important and can be very powerful. Think of each of these things as tools. Every single one of these things I have used and continue to use in my own personal powerlifting journey. And I'm telling you, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, it has been absolutely instrumental, quite literally the reason why I've been able to hit world records. I have failed before. I have failed world records before, multiple times. I've also succeeded. I can tell you with confidence that the biggest difference between failure and success was my mindset. All right, so let's get to it. Okay, so this very first tool is arguably one of the most powerful tools. It's also the easiest tool to use, and it's one of the most accessible. Okay, so you don't have to be special to tap into this. Tool number one, watch other elite squats. Really, all I want you to think about is finding strength athletes who have incredible squats, heavy squats, who are tried and true, who you can relate to, meaning maybe they're the same weight as you or in a similar weight class. They have similar limb lengths and leverages or musculature, right? You want to pick someone or multiple people who you can see yourselves in, if that makes sense, who you could imagine yourself being. Because what you're going to do is use their performance as inspiration, but also proof of what is possible. It gives you a whole new perspective on the heavy squat you're about to take. Because I know what it feels like to be scared, to be uncertain. It's something you maybe have never even done before. Sometimes, and I've been in this situation, I take weights that I've never done before in competition, meaning I never even tried it in training. And here I am in front of hundreds of people, maybe even thousands. Everything's on the line, the championship, the record, all of it. And I'm going to take a weight that I've never even had on my back before. Where does that confidence come from? Well, this is one of the tools I use to create confidence in that. If I watch Ashton Ruska squat 804 pounds at around 225 pounds body weight or 230 pounds body weight, whatever. When I see him do that, take it down and up, and my goal is to squat 771 pounds. When I watch him squat 800, now I know it's actually possible for me to squat 771 because I have this guy over here squatting 800. That's how I think. And that's how I want you guys to think as well. And another analogy I can use here is the sub 4 minute mile. At one point in time, nobody thought it was possible to run a mile in under 4 minutes until one man did it. One crazy motherfucker was crazy enough to get it done, to do it. Then lots of people did it. And to today, thousands have done it. So all it took was one person to cross that line, to break that barrier. And now hundreds have followed. We are constantly pushing the limits of human potential. So when you are on the up and up, when you are coming up, when you are trying to achieve something greater than what you already have, and that frightens you, that intimidates you, just look at the people who have come before you. Let them show you that it's possible. And I'm just going to put that up here because what we want is perspective possible. Okay? What it also does is it inspires. All right? These two together give you the confidence to do that, the heavy squat. All right? So that's tool number one. Tool number two. This one's super, super powerful. It's something that I didn't pick up on until maybe, I don't know, the last year or so. It's something that if I had to impart one thing to you, this would be it. It's something that takes a while to develop and takes a while to truly buy into, and you'll see what I mean in a second. But when you do, man, this is an absolute game changer, and it's something that you can use in every lift and in other areas of your life, okay? So what I'm referring to here is the fact, capital F, that the truth is in your training. Okay. So there's layers to this, obviously, right? But we're going to try and get through this as fast as possible so I don't waste your time. So when I say the truth is in your training, all I'm saying is, and to kind of give you some context, you need to fight back against the lies. What does that mean? A lot of times when you go for a heavy squat, it's super intimidating. It's scary, even if it's something you've hit before. I've been there before many times. Here's the reality. It's all bullshit. It's just lies. All the negativity, all the doubt, all the fear, that's meant to hold you back. If you're spiritual, you would say that that's stuff that comes from the enemy, okay? That's for a separate video. Point is, there are these lies that fill your head, that ruminate. What they do is they weaken you. They try to diminish you and belittle you, but they aren't the truth. So what you have to do is fight back against the lies with the truth, okay? Where is the truth? In your training. And where does your training come from? You. That's what's beautiful about this tool. That's why the more that you progress, the more time you put into your craft, the better you get at this and the easier it is to buy into it. Why? Because you're literally building your training resume as you go. If you haven't really been training for very long, haven't been through too much, and haven't done a lot, it's going to be hard to buy into this, right? But if you have, it's a whole nother ballgame, and I'm going to show you what I mean in a second. So again, the goal here is to use the truth to fight the lies. So fight lies. And we'll put a slash here and put negativity because I think that that's one and the same in this particular context. With truth, okay? And again, we're not making anything up. This isn't some like fugazi bullshit. This is real stuff. This stuff comes from your training. Think about all that you've gone through, the conditions you lifted in, the standards you trained to. If you really put the work in, gave 110% day in, day out, this is a joke. Because anytime you hear, man, I just don't feel good today, whatever, it's like, yeah, no shit. Remember last time when we didn't feel good and we still got it done? That's right. Shut the fuck up. Let's get it done. You see what I'm saying? The next time you feel intimidated by the weight, you're like, dude, man, I remember when I did this weight for triples, let alone a single. Yeah, I mean, I feel strong, whatever, fuck it. I know it's in me. I got it. Which brings me to that next point, right? Everything you need is already within you. Okay? And how do you know that? How do you know that? Because it comes down to your training. The truth is in your training. And where does the training come from? It comes from you. Okay? So everything you need is already within you. That's the truth. You don't need to be any more or less than you currently are. You have what it takes. It's been done. You've done it. Trust your training. The truth is in your training. Okay? You don't need to use positivity to fight the negativity. No. Just use the truth. You did it. You see what I'm saying? The last thing I'm going to say here before we move on is I'm going to give you an example of what this looks like for me, okay? One of the things that I remind myself of whenever I'm feeling extra intimidated, extra fearful of a particular squat or the pressure on the squat, and I'll explain what I mean, is something that Ray Padilla, the owner of War Room, has handled me multiple times at multiple meets, something that he told me a couple of years ago. And what he said was, Gav, you are the best 93 kg squatter in the world. Act like it. That's powerful. And that stayed with me, truthfully. That's one of the things I have to remind myself of. I use the truth from my training to give me the confidence I need to hit my heavy squats, especially when it matters most. Because in my position, 9 times out of 10, I'm taking the heaviest squat of my life, meaning something I've never, ever even put on my back before, when it matters most in competition. That's what I'm doing it, because it's what's needed. It's what I have to do to try and win, to try and break a world record. I put myself in these positions where I feel the heat, I feel the fire, but it's okay because I forged myself for that. I'm built for that. How do I know? Because that's how I fucking train. I go to that, I go there, like I go to that place. You see what I'm saying? I try to meet that standard. All of this is rooted in the training, but the training comes from me. So if I'm giving 100%, if I'm leaving no stone unturned, then I can trust my training. The truth is in the training. Okay, so I'm just going to write this here so you guys can see it out. Now, this might look different for you. I'm not going to lie to you. It might look different. This is true for me. I hold the world record. I hold the American record. I've battled for these records over and over again against the best athletes that the world has to offer. So this is true. But to be honest with you, Ray was saying this to me well before I even officially had the record. In fact, he was saying it to me when I was failing to get the record. So take what I say with a grain of salt here, but this is an example of that. All right, on to the next. So the third tool we're going to talk about is something that you probably already do on your own. It's something that comes very naturally to lifters. In fact, it's almost like a natural progression as you go heavier, as your performance increases. There's simply greater demands on your body. And so you have to elevate your state of mind. Okay. And what really we're trying to say here is manipulate emotion. Or we'll say emotional state. So your body's pretty efficient, right? It's constantly measuring how much energy it needs to use or expend in order to produce X amount of force to resist X amount of weight. All right. I feel like that's a pretty good way to put this. So our job is to figure out how we can get more out of our body. How do we get our body to use more of itself, essentially, to activate more of itself? Okay. And the way that I would like to look at this is think about Guy Sensei from Naruto and his 8 gates, right? The more gates you unlock, the more energy or chakra you can use, the more power you can tap into, per se. Okay? So that's a good way to think about it. If you don't know what I'm referring to, then I feel very sorry for you. So what this might look like is anger, sadness, excitement. Hopefully I spelled that right. The list goes on. You're going to tap into your major emotional states and basically trick yourself into fight or flight. That's essentially what you're doing. You're amping yourself up. You're getting angry. You ever see people sniff ammonia? We can actually put this on the board because I don't want to promote this, but it is an easy tool. Ammonia inhalants. This kind of helps you wake up a little bit. All right. That's basically what it's actually used for is if you have somebody who's unconscious, who fainted or something like that, they usually give them ammonia to wake them back up, bring them back to consciousness. So that's what, whenever you see powerlifters do that shit, yeah, that's what they're doing. Okay. But this is to get you into a state of anger or deep sadness or really excited and fun. And that's what you want. You want to get amped up because the more amped up you are, we'll say, the more of your body you can use, okay? The more activated you can be. Eddie Hall describes a psychological trick he worked on with actually a psychiatrist before deadlifting, I believe it was 500 kilos, right? I think he was the first man in history to deadlift 500 kilos. The trick was this. He would pinch a piece of his palm and immediately that would put him into the state of mind, the fight or flight that he would be in if he were to rescue his kids from underneath a truck or a car. That's what he said. So what's crazy about that is that's the place he needed to be mentally and physically in order to do what has never been done. So it means that this works. Amping yourself up, getting yourself into a heightened state, manipulating your emotional state really does work. Now, my caution to you, and I guess we should probably put this in red, my caution to you is to make sure that you exhibit control. Now, why would we want to do that? First reason, you have, that's an A, you have multiple attempts. I'm sorry, my penmanship right now is absolutely horrendous. You have multiple attempts, so you can't truly gas yourself out completely on one lift. Okay, now, if you're a gym bro, you're going for a squat PR, fine, but you probably still have the rest of your workout as well. So just be mindful of that. You don't want to just completely empty your entire tank. The second thing is you still need to be precise because remember, powerlifting is a skill. Squatting is a skill. I can't tell you how many times this has happened to me where I get so amped up that I throw my technique completely out the window. I cut depth. It ends up being harder than it should have been. All of that stuff. What that usually means is it comes from a place of fear, right? I'm afraid. So because of that, I get so amped up, so nervous, all this anxious energy, and I just want to get it over with. That's not really what we're referring to here. What we are referring to is a controlled rage. Okay? So that's all I mean. I'm sorry, dude. My fucking penmanship is absolutely terrible today. A controlled rage. I like to think of a sniper. A sniper is extremely powerful, deadly as fuck, but extraordinarily precise. Without the precision, the bullet and the sniper, it's meaningless. It's useless. But with precision, it's incredibly deadly. You see what I'm saying? So that's what you need to be, a sniper, controlled rage. We don't want to get so amped up that we throw everything else out the window. We don't want to get so amped up that we're just battling the bar with fear and anxious energy. That's not it. We want to tap into deep emotional states that allow us to tap into more of our body. That's basically it. All right, let's move on. The fourth tool here is something that I started implementing probably about 2 years ago, or maybe a year and a half ago. I think like around like 2023, 2024. And it's super simple, super easy. You probably have already done this. It's essentially music, but really make a playlist. Okay. Now, like I said, really simple, really cheesy almost, but believe it or not, this is a really important tool, especially if you're a competitive athlete and you're going to be at meets. The reason why this is really important is because what you're going to do is you're going to create your soundtrack, your squat soundtrack, your training soundtrack. The way I like to think about this is if I was in a Rocky movie, right? Or there was like some scene in a super motivating film where there's this like underdog and he gets hit with all this adversity and he has to overcome it, and they cut to the training montage. The music that goes behind that's what I want. Okay. The idea here, and we can change the color. The idea here is for the music to create a focused, we'll put locked in and motivating or motivated environment. So that's what the playlist is for. Do I need you to select only songs that have the power to put you in those deep emotional states we talked about in tool number 3? No, not necessarily. Okay. But what I do need you to do is select songs that help you focus and stay locked in. Okay. That when you turn them on, you know it's time to train. Now, what's helpful about this is when you get to the heavy squat, you no longer have to hesitate. You no longer have to sit there and wonder like, oh, fuck, man, like I know I need to get motivated. I don't really feel super motivated. I kind of just feel super scared. Like, what should I listen to? What song? Man, I don't know. I don't know if that song's good enough. I don't know if that song's strong enough. Whatever. Fuck all of that. That now is not the time for hesitation and for a little quibbling like that. Like, that's not what we're here to do. Have this prepared prior to. So you have a go-to selection of stuff that you know will get you going, that will get you focused and will get you locked in. Have that ready. And I cannot tell you how important this is for game day, because I have been in situations where I didn't have a playlist and I literally would sit there knowing that I'm just a few minutes away from my attempt. And I actually gave myself more anxiety because I was worried about finding a song that would amp me up enough for the squat. And if I didn't find the song in time or didn't get to the right part, then I wouldn't be amped enough to hit my squat, in which case I would fail the squat and fail the meet. You see what I'm saying? Throw all that nonsense out the window, be prepared, make a playlist. It's that simple. Now, if you need a lifting playlist or if you need inspiration for your lifting playlist, I have a lifting playlist on Spotify. It's just called Lifting Playlist. But if you type in my name, Gavin, Gavin, last name is Adin. I know I have 2 first names and no middle name. But yeah, if you type in my name on Spotify, it should come up. It's a lifting playlist. I think it has like a little over 2,000 likes. So a lot of people have listened to it and used it, which is pretty crazy. I think it has like over 100 hours worth of songs, something crazy like that. But yeah, definitely give it a shot. It's a whole mix of like metal, EDM, rap, like all of it. Okay. But I do listen to a lot of metal. I'm not going to lie. And then the last thing I'm going to say before we move on to our 5th point, our 5th tool, is this t-shirt. This was sent to me by Barbell Apparel. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm not going to lie to you. It did not come to me cut up. No, they're not paying me for this. No, I'm not sponsored by them or partnering with them or anything like that. I'm just really grateful that they sent me this stuff. I thought it was pretty dope. I trained in it earlier. They sent me some really cool jeans as well that I've been able to wear. It's probably the only pair of jeans I have that actually fit me well and are comfortable. But anyway, yeah, they sent me some stuff. I did cut it because if you know me, I have to cut my teeth so I can show the traps. But I just wanted to give them a shout out. Curious as to what you guys think. Yeah, it's that simple. Now, this is a really important one that is extremely overlooked. Nothing out of the norm. It's super simple. All I'm referring to here is do what you always do. For whatever reason, whenever people get scared of like their lifts, especially like a heavy squat, they start to do shit that they don't normally do. They do a weird warm up that they've never done. They do like a weird ritual that they've never done before. The way that they set up, they start setting up differently. Like just a bunch of stuff that it's like they wear equipment that they normally wouldn't wear. It's just they do things that are out of routine or out of habit. And I know where it's coming from. It's this place of anxiety and fear, and this mental frame where you need to be more than what you currently are. And we've already discussed it. That's just not the truth. What I want you to do is go in the opposite direction. Nothing should be out of the norm. This is another routine day for you. Okay? So keep it routine. Don't do anything that you wouldn't normally do. Also, you know that if you've gotten to that point and you're prepared to take this heavy squat, or this intimidating lift for that matter, then you know that you've done everything you need to do, and the way that you did it worked. So stick to the way that you did it. You know what I mean? It's that simple. So nothing out of the norm, okay? If you wear in-ear buds versus over-the-ear headphones or whatever, then stick to that. If you wear the bottom half of a singlet and a t-shirt, just stick to that. If you train out of your basement, just stick to that. If you go to the gym and you get spotters for your, like, just stick to that. Like, there's no reason to go too far out of the norm, okay? This is not the time to try new shit. Stick to what works. Stick to what you've been doing. If nothing else, it becomes more predictable, and you'll be able to measure your progress better because you'll be able to say, yes, I wore the same knee sleeves for every single squat session. So I know that the knee sleeves themselves couldn't be a predictor of success or failure in this scenario. You see what I'm saying? You'd be surprised. A lot of people try a lot of stupid shit and a lot of new shit when they're intimidated and when they're going for something big. And that's also usually when they doubt themselves more. So they start taking in advice from all these other people. And it's like, bro, like even if it's great advice, you've never tried it before. You've never done it before. Once you are super advanced and super ballsy, then you can try new shit on the fly. I'll give you an example. Last Nationals, not the most recent one, but the year before that. Actually, that's a lie, including this last Nationals. I changed my bench grip width on a whim. I just felt like the max grip that I had been training in didn't feel strong that day, so I brought it in a finger space. To me, it's not that big of a deal, but some coaches would probably advise against that. My point is, I did kind of violate this rule, but I have so much training history that I can trust myself. I can trust my decision making. And until you get there, please, please, please do this. And that decision, by the way, wasn't made out of fear or anxiety. It was just made out of rationale. Like I just knew, like, okay, if I go max grip, this is probably not going to work out the way I want it to, so let me bring this in. In worst case scenario, I just bring it back out for my second attempt. We call it a day. Okay? So nothing out of the norm. So the sixth and final tool here. This one's a big one. It's a hard one, and it's one that will take some time to develop because every single one of us is very unique. But what you're going to do is develop mental frameworks. And for me, this basically means statements that elicit or affirm a particular truth or state of mind. I'm going to give you some examples of my favorite ones, okay? Burn the ships. If you know me, if you follow me, you've heard this one before. Burn the ships. This one is very special to me. It's a saying I adopted going into my very first Sheffield championship. A lot was going on in my life, and I truly felt like I had to burn the ships. I had to go all in and fuck everything else. And the saying is, if you're going to take the island, burn the boats. It comes from, it was a story from a long time ago. I want to say it was like the 1600s Spanish conquistador. I think his last name was Cortez, I think. Maybe it was like 1842. I don't remember. Long story short, him and his men were going to take this kingdom, this city, whatever. And he realized he just did not have enough men for the task. They were significantly outnumbered. They had traveled already. And basically, when they got to shore, he told his men, burn the boats. So his men burned their own boats. And the idea was, we are either going to be successful or we will die here. There's no turning back. There's nothing for us. It's all in or it's nothing. Long story short, they won. Okay? So the point is, burn the boats. You have to go all in. There's no more time for hesitation. There's no room for it. It's either you're in or you're out. Period. Black and white. Okay? So burn the ships. Another one, do or do not there is no try. This is from Yoda. And this one I love. This is one that I adopted actually this past year, I think. This is great because, again, it reinforces this idea of there's no trying, period. I used to tell myself like, well, I'll try to win. I'll try to hit it. I'm going to try. Such a weak mindset. You need to go from I will try to I will, period. And those two statements are extremely different. Guys, I can't stress how important this is. This is tough, man. This is a complicated framework. It's tough to do this because it takes time to develop it. It also takes time to believe in it and apply it. But this is huge, man. Do or do not, there is no try. That basically put me in a state of mind where it was like, I can do this. Like if I'm attempting to lift this, it's because I can do it, period. Like there's no in between. So just get it done. So do or do not. You're not going to try though. You're not going to give what you can. No. You're going 110%, period. Period. And that might sound crazy to some people. I'm sorry. I don't feel for you. The truth is, that's what it takes. Sometimes you have to be a little crazy to do shit that you've never done before. Or to be honest with you, let's take it to level 2, to do shit no one has ever done before. Okay? That's just the reality. If you don't want to live in that reality, that's fine. Stay average. Like, that's on you. So, do or do not, there is no try. It's not that deep. What I mean by this is you have to put things into perspective. See, you see a heavy squat, you see a championship, as everything. This is everything. And it's going to be so hard, and this is so scary, and this is, oh my gosh. But shift your perspective. See it the way it is for what it actually is. The truth of the matter is, it's not that deep. It's not that big of a deal. And if we're actually physically talking about our squats, my squats aren't that deep. It's just an inside joke. But anyway, it's not that deep. So what I like to remind myself of whenever I get intimidated or scared or nervous is I like to think of everything like this. When I go to take this squat, literally when I am under the bar, somebody is fighting on the front lines for my ability to do so. Somebody's getting shot at. Somebody's been deployed. Somebody just lost their child. Somebody is fighting to put food on the table for all of their kids, and they're doing it as a single parent. Somebody's struggling. Somebody's truly, actually suffering. And here I am, privileged enough to spend some time getting under some heavy-ass weight. Who the fuck am I to complain about this, to bitch about this, to be even afraid of this? That's the way that I shift my perspective. It grounds me. It roots me. It brings me back to reality. It's not that big of a deal. So stop fucking worrying about it. Just go do it. It's just a squat. Like just go do it. Like literally get under the bar, go down, come back up, done. It is what it is. And guess what? If you fail, if you don't get it, so what? Who cares? Even if you did get it, you still keep training anyway. So you just keep going, right? It shifts the perspective. It takes it from this big, larger than life thing to something that's digestible, something that's real, something that's true. The last mental framework I'll give you here is one that I actually learned from Dave Tate on an Elite FTS podcast. I've told this story before in previous videos, but it's really special. Long story short, a college student, asked him if he had any advice for college students. And what he told them was a story of him taking, I think it was around a 900-pound squat. Now, he was a West Side guy. Louis Simmons was his coach. And in short, in preparing for his 900-pound squat, it's the day of the meet. It's just a few moments away. And, he's wrapping his knees or whatever. And Louis comes up to him and he says, Dave, listen, it's going to feel heavy. And Dave goes, yeah, no shit. I mean, it's 900 pounds. It's going to feel heavy. He's like, no, you're not listening to me. It's going to feel heavy. And Dave goes, I got it. I know. I get it. I know it's going to be heavy. And Louis says, you're not listening. It's going to feel heavy. But just because it's heavy doesn't mean you can't do it. I think that is so powerful. He goes out for the squat. He unracks it. Shit was shaking. It was heavy as fuck. He goes down, comes back up. Easy. He got the squat. It's going to feel heavy, but just because it's heavy doesn't mean you can't do it. Extremely powerful. That is a rule for life, man. In fact, one of the things that really helped me recently, really, is acknowledging the fact that, man, this is supposed to be hard. I signed up for this. It's supposed to be hard. It feels hard right now because it is. But just because it feels difficult, just because it is challenging, doesn't mean I can't do it. In fact, I know I can. I'm built for this. So we'll put this on the board. I think this is a really big one. And that is a mental framework. That's something that you can build and adopt, sorry. It's huge. So hopefully you guys have a decent picture as to what I mean by developing your mental frameworks. These are the things, the systems, the structures that you are going to lean upon. And these are the things that are going to define really you as a lifter, your mindset as a lifter, as you go through your training, as you go through hitting heavy squats. All right. Now, if you want more of a taste of my mindset, especially when it comes to my training, I consider it to be like my training philosophy. In 2021, before I left for Sweden for my first world championship, peak pandemic, I wrote a book. I wrote an ebook. It's about 40 pages long, but it's a very fast read. And it's my training philosophy. All right. So it's basically my entire training mindset. Now, my mindset has evolved and definitely improved since then. There's so much that I have yet to really explore in the book. And I'm saving that for something that's hopefully going to be really fleshed out and something that I can actually publish. So I'm in the works, or that's in the works. But I like to offer that mindset ebook I wrote back in 2021 for free because I've had thousands of downloads, and which is thousands more than I ever thought I would get. And every single person, like when I go to the Arnold, when I would go to meets, worlds, could be anywhere, somebody would come up to me and tell me that they read that book and that it changed their life. And I'm not saying that to gas myself up. I'm saying that because if it can change theirs, then maybe it can change yours. And that's all that matters. So it's completely free. If you want to dive more into my mindset, you'll see a lot more of my mental frameworks in there. Then please, please, please just download it. It's free. All right. Guys, that's 6 tools that I believe can absolutely improve your mindset so that you can tackle some heavy ass squats. All right. I believe in you. Squats are supposed to be scary. The truth is they are scary. It is scary to put 500 pounds on your back. That's not normal, but you ain't either. You're built for it. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please comment below if there's any questions you have and or any topics you'd like me to cover. All right. I'll see you guys in the next YouTube video. Peace.